Hi, and welcome to the SuccessPaTh show, where Christian business owners share their tips for success to show you how to succeed more effectively with your kingdom goals. I'm your host, Violet Dietrich, and I have somebody truly amazing and funny. So I'm so glad, Carol, that you are coming on my show. You have so much in you, but I don't want to, I don't want to give it away before we start. But let me introduce you. Carol Conroy is a woman with 3 kids, 2 businesses, and one bald-headed husband. A regular small-town woman who lives linking up with people, getting to know their true stories, and sharing all the mess-ups and mistakes she's made in her life to help others improve theirs. So today's discussion will be the culmination of her life experience and knowledge through the many seasons of this 42-year-old woman. She says her age, so that should tell you something about her.
That's right.
Whether from her role of nurse, life coach, volunteer extraordinaire, children, women's leader, mother, daughter, friend, or wife, it's been a successful business journey that she has enjoyed. But there's a catch as to why she's been a successful small business owner. No, she's no more better than anyone else, but she does have a few new small business worldviews than she did before. And she can't wait to share and explore these different views and concepts with you today. And we can't wait to hear them. Carol, welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, and that was a wonderful bio. I'm so glad that you sent that. We were talking earlier that it just brought me joy yesterday when I was going through it, and just I saw your personality shine through that. So I appreciate it.
Well, you mentioned the 42-year-old age, which I never even thought of. Oh, I shouldn't put that in there. Because as I was referencing to you, my big thing is authenticity. So yes, that is how I talk. That is who I am. And that is my story of where I got to be here. So yeah, I'm excited.
I love it. So this show is about helping Christian business owners succeed. And the reason it came about is because I have 2 sets of friends. One set of friends who is just crushing it massively, making 6, 7 figures, feel like they found their God-given purpose. And then my other set of friends is struggling, and they feel like, hey, God, did I miss it? I thought I heard from you. I went with it with my whole heart and soul. And now I'm, in debt, and they may be even in depression. So Carol, you say that you have some new small business worldviews. What are a few of those that we can share with the audience?
Well, I was thinking before I came in, I'm like, yeah, my parents had small businesses. My husband's parents had small businesses. Even my husband and I self did some rental type stuff. And now I have 2 small businesses. So I'm like, maybe I have a bit more small business experience than I even realized. But I have come into this small business venture with a bit of a different heart. Even when I was looking at doing life coaching, there was this free program called Work BC here in Cranbrook, and you could apply to go in it, and you had to fill out sort of like your business plan and your potential expenses and incomes. And me and a friend were in it at the same time, and we show up, and they're looking through my papers, and they're looking through they're like, this is going to fail. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, look, you're just basically willing to do whatever it takes to see people grow and shift in their heart and soul. They're like, what is this woman talking about? I said, yes. For me, I had to look at some words and start to define them a little bit differently. When people come in and see me as a life coach, I have this template called the definition definer, and it's words like failure, happy, success, growth, goals. And I did have some goals at the front end of my business. I had like the 1-year plan, this many clients I would see, and the 2-year plan, this many clients I would see, the 3-year plan, this many clients I would see. And I have to say that generally the things I take on, whether it's women's ministry, small things, tend to succeed. So it's great to have these goals and see them just like fall down like dominoes. This is no problem. But as I started to move into my business, even though my heart was willing to do whatever God called me to do, work with whoever God called me to work with, not charge as much as I should have to charge, I started to find myself late at night, kind of adding up the number of people who is paying me full price, who is paying me less than full price, who is getting for free, adding up how much I was making and how many people I was seeing each week, just laying there going like, I need to be doing more than this. My family's given me this opportunity to do this life coaching thing. It's got to be more. I got to have more. I got to have more success. This is feeling like this like feels like it's a failure. I hadn't really run into failure before. I would talk to my husband a little bit about this, and he'd say, Carol, remember when we went into this life coaching thing, it was never supposed to be about making $1 million. I'm like, yeah. But it wasn't making as much as my little brain and heart thought. I really had a piece of my self-worth wrapped up in how much money I could meet. The number wasn't super big, but it had to be substantial to my brain and to my family. My husband kept reminding me this wasn't the case, but it was God who kept reminding me. And he's like, Carol, this is business, but it's also faith. You work with women who are on a journey in their soul growing, and your soul needs to grow as well. You need to let go of your self-worth being in how much dollar value you bring in and what shifts spiritually you see people going through. I had to take that definition of success that I literally, through this piece of paper, work through with people all the time, what they say failure and success, and I had to apply it to my own little heart. I have to say 90% of me wanted to do it right from the start, but there's 10% that just said, oh no, unless you make a certain amount and you're seeing a certain number of people and you're growing steadily on that little path and journey like you planned out, you were kind of failing. And I realized I didn't want certain people to see me fail, but I had to look in the eye and God in the eye, myself in the eye, and redefine those words and really embrace success as spiritual growth for myself and the people I was working with. And it wasn't that hard to do, but it's something I really had to step across and I had to choose to do. Nobody else could make it do that for me. But the magic was, once that happened, it was like I was released to have fun and be free and just be like, this is what God has called me to do. This is what I'm good at. Apparently I'm funny when I'm doing. I'm up at a show. I don't know. I would say whatever it takes, I will do ridiculous things to see people's souls grow. I just have so much fun and freedom. That was probably the last little link of self-worth to something that wasn't really worthwhile. My definition of work success. And from that, not only do I feel way more at peace, the people I work with, I was saying this to someone, every single day, every single person I work with is growing on a spiritual level. They want to grow, they're willing to grow, and they're seeing success in that. I used to come home on Sundays after teaching Sunday school. I called it my Sunday school high. I was just like bouncing and beaming. I'm like the kids, and we were singing and we're joyful. This is like really for real, my Sunday school high. Now I do that every single day. I don't have to drag myself out of bed. I bounce out of bed. I don't have to drag myself home. I bounce on the way home. I get tired like other people, but what I do, I get so much joy through it. I say it's like drinking a cup of coffee every time I talk to someone. It's absolutely thrilling. Wow. It was a bit of a risk at the beginning to let go of that old definition. But I was thinking of that chunk in the Bible where Jesus sort of said they broke the fish and they broke the bread. And somehow from 5 fish and 5 loaves, 12 baskets were left over. And it's like when I gave God my time, my intentions, my money, he has returned it full, like 12-fold, not just in the success that people go through, but also the contributions from other people who support my ministry. There's people who give me free coffee for all me and my clients. There's people who's given me free rent. There's people who've done my website, Facebook site, my templates. There's so much that I've been given for free because once people understood the why I wanted to do this, they wanted to get on board too. Wow. And so that is really the secret to my success, was me changing my definition of what success was going to be, and then being able to live fully free under that success definition. It wasn't mine, it was God's.
Wow, Carol, and you hit on a lot of important points there about redefining your success and failure. And everybody, at least I would think that everybody wants something that they can bounce out of bed for.
Mm.
So I'm so grateful that you found your thing. So why life coaching? How did you get to this point?
You know, it's so ironic. I've never heard the term before. I know it's super popular out there, but I was in a transition. I'd gone on a trip with my husband. He said, "Here's a book someone gave him." He said, "I think you might like this." Well, I borrowed it one day and just never gave it back. And I read a chapter every single day of our trip. Riveting. And it was talking about seasons and shifting and life purpose. And I realized, as much as I love nursing and all these other volunteer roles, my purpose, I was just drawn to see other women grow just because I got so much out of it. And I came back from that trip and I contacted a few women who I really look up to, or spiritual women of God. And I asked them, if you could picture me doing anything, just anything, the world's your oyster, what would it be? And it consistently came back like a counselor or a therapist, but somebody shot me this life coach twist. And I looked at that and I thought, you know, under life coach, you get to interact with people in their toughest spots. That's the spot I love to work with. But you get to do it all with faith, worldview, and values. And that was huge to me. So that's what got me even started, even though I had to like literally Google the word life coach. I don't even know what this means, but it set me off on a journey and I've never regretted it since.
I love it. And you said that some of your secrets for success are soul growth first,
Yeah.
keeping core values in place,
Mm.
and pacing priorities and peace.
Absolutely. So I recently did a little workshop. I've done a number of workshops on pacing well. And the original one I did years ago was all very time management based because I'm very good at following time and starting and stopping and being efficient. I can do that really well. But as you grow up, you realize certain things matter more than getting things done and staying on time. And I embraced a concept that has become a program of mine called Victory Through Values, looking at my whole world based on a value-based system. There's 8 core values, and I stuck a 9th in the middle, your spiritual growth. And I love to work through with people, defining their values, putting them in order, defining their 4 core, and helping them map out how to stick to that. Because once people get the why and the value in that, the peace they have, the clarity they have, the confidence they have. Somebody once asked me, if you, like way when I was first maybe looking at this, they said, wow, if you ever wanted to do online group work, what would you do? Would you do single moms? Would you do older moms? Would you do married? I said, really? For me, it would be picking people in an emotional state. So they were all coming in like growth-based people who wanted to grow, people who wanted to know a certain emotional state and grow from this one. Like I work with people who feel hopeless, pointless, choiceless. And now they say, I feel calm, clarity, confidence, but they're building it on faith-based values. So they don't have to waffle anymore. And that is a gift that people say they had no idea when we started. That's where we would end up. And that's what I love to see in people's life, because that's what God did to me through this Victory Through Values program. Absolutely.
I love that. And, you know, it's really important to stick to those core values, and even more important that they be faith-based. So I'm really encouraged that you teach that in those workshops. But you mentioned your why, that your why is really important. And for some people, it's a struggle sometimes to find their why. So what's some practical tips on the way that people can find their why that will, you know, motivate them and encourage them, the why that they can really, really stick to?
You know, somebody recently did a virtual summit all on purpose. So I think that's what people resonate with the word so much, on purpose. And they asked me, invited me to be a speaker. I didn't even have to interview. I thought, so special. This is great. And being a nurse, I recognize there's an order to health. You can't just like get up and go and do a wonderful, healthy day if you have like a secret spot of pain, something super sore, some infection no one can see. And so for me, even though everyone else was maybe bringing really positive messages, I wanted to rewind the process. I wanted to find out what pain is going on in people and address that. Because I said the peace that comes before you can do your purpose is addressing the pain in your life and getting to a place of peace, P-E-A-C-E. Because if you have something, you have 10 little fingers, but one is in pain on a stove, all you feel is pain. You can't even touch these 9 beautiful blessings. And so that's why I love working with people who do feel secretly, usually hidden, hopeless, pointless, and choiceless. And as we work through things and we find out where they have to, like me, tweak their self-worth, we dig into the fears they don't even know they have. This is men, women, kids, teenagers, married couples, Christians, non-Christians. The process is the same. We get rid of that pain spot, and they all say, like, bonus mental space, bonus energy, bonus focus. And they go from, literally, I've worked with people who were suicidal, who now run by. I'm actually missing a Bible study from a lady who was suicidal. She's grown so much. She started the study. She's got things going. I'm like, who are you? But she addressed the stress in her life. We dealt with the pain, finger off the stove. And now she's like, oh my gosh, I can actually do things. So the why is dealing with the pain, address the stress. People say they're sick of that phrase, but it sticks in their head. That's what I would say. Address the stress. There's the tip.
Wow. And that is so true, Carol. And I notice it every time that I'm sick. I can't concentrate on anything else because my brain is like, you have to address this. It's like, something flashing, like something's wrong. And then I have all these supplements, and before I used to be sick all the time, so I kind of know what to take. But when I'm in pain, it's even hard for me to remember. And then after I feel better, I'm like, I had all these teas right here, all these herbal teas that I could have taken, but my brain is so focused on that pain that it's hard to focus on anything else. But you mentioned choices. You said that's one tip to overcome obstacles and hurdles. What do you mean by that?
We were walking on we were on a trip. So my husband nearly died one year. It was H1N1, kind of like we have the pandemic now. When it was H1N1, he was one of the dudes. He's like 30 something. He got super sick, nearly died. Didn't. Changed our family worldview and focus. A lot of things we weren't doing before, we reassessed, we reevaluated. And one of it was to go away on family trips and spend time together. Love is spelled T-I-M-E. And we were on one of these trips, walking on the beach, because we do it super thrifty. Like every place we stay is like the cheapest way to stay there. It's like beans and rice all the time. But we are there together and we don't mind. And there was some kind of saying on the side of a bank, and it talked about 3 things in life that would always be there, like taxes, change, and something else. But my brain read it like this. There's 3 things in life that you can always count on. There will always be change. There's always a choice on how to respond to that change. And your choice is based on your truth, your worldview. And my brain realized that's so true. There's always change, though we fight it to the death. There's always choices, and it is based on my truth. But when I choose a truth point that doesn't change, I say my truth point is my faith point. There are choices that, like people say, there's so many choices they never even saw before. And that creates real change in their life. But it's until we get rid of that pain spot, you can't even see the choices in front of you. So there's a bit of an order. Everybody wants the 1, 2, 3 fast McDonald's tips. My process takes a few more weeks than that. But the reality of how people, they're like, I am different people within just a few weeks. I love it. It's amazing. That is why I get out of bed in the morning.
Wow, that's incredible. So I know you mentioned that it's the pain that makes you feel choices. So is that the only reason that people feel like I don't have a choice? Because you said that you run across people that are hopeless, choiceless, and pointless. But yeah, for me, it's hard to grab a hold of that concept, because I'm like, I see opportunities, in many different places. Of course, not in every area, but I'm curious, what are some reasons that people feel choiceless?
People come with so many different situations. They're usually relational, stuck in this situation with their partner, stuck with certain thoughts in their heads about themselves. They can't see past that. They're trying to do their life, but 10% of it is built on beliefs that are not true. So take me saying my self-worth is wrapped up in the amount of money I make, even though I wasn't even asking for much. But for some reason, that was like, yes, that will make me a worthwhile person. Until I had poked at that and addressed that and realized, okay, there's nothing in God's word that says that. Actually, he says I'm way more worthwhile if I'm working for heaven dollars. He knows my motive. I broke that. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I could be having fun all the time. I could do this. I could do this. I could do choices I couldn't see. My 10% was stuck on a bogus belief. Figure out what it is, because you can't even hear it yourself often. That's what I love talking to people. I start to recognize it for them. We write it down. We look on it paper. They can see it, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my gosh, I see what I've been doing my whole life. My whole life I've been doing this." And all of a sudden it begins to be clarity, and they see they do have a choice in that area that they thought that's just how it was. So that's what I mean. They'll come and saying hopeless, pointless, choiceless. And we start addressing the stress, and we begin to see at the bottom were these bogus beliefs that once we choose, or they choose, I always say it's up to you. It's your crossroad decision. You're aware now. You can intentionally start doing this. It's going to be hard, but I'll be here, and I will be here and make sure we chip on it. I call it tackling your 10%, chipping away. It's not all in a day. We just chip it away. We chip it away. We chip it away. And I have a program for that, actually. It's been really exciting. It's really one of my most exciting things right now. I love it. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, yeah. And I guess I kind of like that because some people are resistant to changing.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's like, here's hope, take it, please. You know, maybe they feel like they're stuck in that hopelessness, choicelessness, pointlessness. But when you chip at it, maybe it makes it more bearable. Is that what you find?
Well, I will say this. So my little success in my business, where I say everyone I'm working with, everyone is showing success, has way less to do with me and more to do with their heart. I say my favorite people are the willing and want to, but don't know how. They're just like, I am willing and I want to, I just don't know how. And I say, you bring the willing, I've got the way, I've got the templates, and God won't let go of you until the job is done. We will chip at this until it's dead and done. And so that is why mine is successful, is because the people come with a heart that is really willing, scared spitless, but willing to give it a shot. It's my favorite spot to work with, actually.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, Carol, you have a special offer for the audience. It's a devotional that we're going to put the description, and we're going to put the link down in the details below. Can you tell us what somebody that reads this devotional is going to get out of it?
You know, it's interesting because it's called the Decision Devotional. And I remember one person said, why would you write a devotion on making decisions? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I understand the waffle when it's your little 10% area. It's like 90% of your life you can make decisions, but everyone's got like a spot that's so muddly. It's their 10% spot that's the challenge. And this is an explanation based off a blog I wrote that resonated with so many people. Break down into looking at how to make good decisions. It's not just black or white, wrong or right. We actually break it down into the right thing, right motive, and right order. I said it called it the Jesus jackpot. You need all three to match up to make a Jesus jackpot decision. And it's going to walk people through why that actually works. And I have people who have made life-changing decisions based on this, like with work or relationship stuff that was really hard. It's not 1, 2, 3 steps. You have to read things through, think about it, apply it for you. There's a questionnaire worksheet, but it doesn't matter who is doing it or the thing in the middle. The process is the same because it's biblical. And that's what I love about it.
And they can find that on your website, carolconroy.com?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, Carol, thank you so much for this amazing information. And I'm so encouraged by everything that God has done through you and helping other people to get some hope, you know, create those choices. And it is just amazing when you do God's work. And well, where can people follow you so they can, you know, connect with you, learn more about you, see what's coming up next?
I do have a Facebook page. It's at Carol Conroy Impact Coaching. And my email would be info@carolconroy.com.
Info. All right.
I'm literally
Awesome.
the person who sends my cell number to people. Just text me directly, like we'll link up. I'm so interested. If you're a willing and want to kind of heart, I would love to start a journey with you. It would be my honor.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time, Carol. Thank you so much for being here and for everything that you do. Just one more question. What are some final words that we can leave those people out there that may be feeling discouraged, may feel like I've tried everything? What are some words of encouragement we can leave with them?
Part of my bio I sent you was like, I want people to learn from my mess ups and mistakes. And I make like dozens and dozens of banana muffins. And I often said, I'm kind of like a banana. I'm bruised and mushy, but God uses bruised banana muffins. They're the best ones to making muffins. And it's slow changes, slow little chips, slow little things. It takes a little time to look through your belief system, but that's really the key. Finding out stuff you might be believing that you don't even know. That's what I would say.
And even though it's scary, like what is some encouragement for some of those people that are scared now because they've been through it? And it's like, oh, I messed up so bad and that failure is still lingering. So how can they get past that fear so that they can make some movement?
I would say, look at how you're defining failure. It's interesting how people put it on the paper for me. They write it down. And I just say, failure is falling forward. Failure is taking what you've learned and fall forward. And then we're going to grow from there. So looking at how you even define failure and say, what would God say is actually failure in this situation? And think that question through. That would be a starting place, I think.
I love that. Well, please follow Carol. Again, her Facebook is Carol Conroy Impact Coaching. And we'll go ahead and put her email address also below. And if you want more of this content, please subscribe. Press the subscribe button and like this. Also share with your loved ones, with anybody that might get great benefits from a type of show like this. Thank you so much for being here. We love you, and we'll see you on the next episode.